And here we are in the fourth and final game between Splay and Fredinhiovic in the group stage of the Farmers League. And it's a weird format. It's play all four, so they could actually be a final 2-2 scoreline. And I think the tournament organizer was too heavily influenced by soccer, where you have these draws, and then for the draws you only get 1 point, and for wins you get 3 points. And oh god, what is this start by Splay? Oh my god, already killing 2 goats, sacrificing 2 goats to his gods. He is playing as the Lithuanians, and he's playing in the pink again. Why is he playing in the pink? It does not make any sense. This is Lily Vanilli's color, and I don't know, Splay never played in pink. So this is really, really weird. It almost looks like it's a gender reveal party down here with the blue and the pink, but it is not. It is the match between Splay and Fredinhiovic, who is playing in the blue over here as the Chinese. And I think the Chinese, of course, the favorite civilization, if you are actually knowing how to play with them, because they start with extra villages but no food, and so you really have to go heavily on food quite early and also get loom, and then in the end you might be 1.5 to 2 villages ahead, depending on how good you're executing. And we can see that Fredinhiovic probably 1.5 villages ahead, or maybe even more, because he did get loom in the end. So nice start there by Fredinhiovic, really making sure that he doesn't fall behind in terms of villager production, even with the Chinese. Now he's gathering, or like garrisoning all the villages. Instead, he should just use the drop off resources hotkey, which has been newly introduced to the game, and which causes a lot of bugs. But yeah, now Splay also forward. He also has loom, and he wants to lame the berries. I'm not quite sure why he wants to lame the berries in particular, especially like this, because if he's doing like this, he will just get walled in. This will not amount to anything. Oh, Fredinhiovic actually cancelled loom and now got it again. So that is interesting, and look at this. 12 to 12 villages, so maybe the wall-in was successful after all, because Fredinhiovic was idling a lot, and now we have a scout fight. I don't know who is winning. Who has more HP? It's 24 to 24 HP, although the town center comes into the fray. If you look at the bar down here, the pink bar is slightly smaller than the blue bar, so I think that actually the pink scout actually has less HP. For those of you who don't know, even though you only see even numbers down here, the HP is actually stored and calculated in decimal numbers. So it can actually be, in this case, 23 point something instead of the 24 that Fredinhiovic has. But this is just a side note here. We have some more villager fighting here, but I think this villager is just in peril because we have a scout here, and Splay is retreating with the scout, and so I'm not sure that this lame is all too successful. Now, of course, the Lithuanians, they start with extra food, so that it gives you the opportunity to go for some kind of early aggression without falling too far behind in terms of resources. Now we have some complaining by the players about extreme lag. Fredinhiovic has gotten nerves here, it seems, but I think Splay will lose the scout, and now he will just lose the villager as well. This is just horrible. He will put some damage on the scout, but I think he will just lose the villager, and that is just not worth it in my opinion. I think once he saw that he wouldn't get anything done on the berries, I think he should have just retreated, or maybe not gone as far into here. Especially with the weak scout. If he had a full HP scout, maybe he can come in here, but with a weak scout, I don't think he can just do that. But yeah, I think all is not lost, because in terms of villages, both players completely even though we have the Chinese in the game, although now Splay is heavily housed now forcing up a house, and this is really quite bad. But Fredinhiovic was just housed a minute ago, so it kind of evens out. And in the end, after all that, Splay Buzzer lost one villager and is therefore one villager behind, but it could have been much worse because Fredinhiovic, as the Chinese, should be much further ahead, but he just isn't. Now Freddy has enough to go up to the next stage, but he just doesn't go up to the next stage. No, has 2 more villages queued, and then he goes up to the next stage, which seems late to me. I always thought Fredinhiovic has these super tight build orders, like 19 pop scouts or whatever, down to a T, but here he seems to not do that. Instead, he's going for a drush, or rather probably a man-at-arms rush, which is interesting, certainly. And Splay Buzzer so far has nothing. He really needs to get a barracks down. He needs some military of his own. Instead, he's just going for some chicken walls. I'm not sure if they're chicken walls or just very defensive walls. I think they're almost too defensive, because the archers of your opponent can just sit here and do a lot of damage. And this scout just escapes from the clutches of the villagers. Just one more hit was necessary there. Now the player's laughing about something, but I'm not quite sure. Splay Buzzer is almost up to the feudal age. Fredinhiovic also almost up to the feudal age. And probably some villager was lost somewhere, maybe, because suddenly Fredinhiovic is 3 villages ahead here. And the palisade walls are completely ineffective because they're just not completed, and this is just disastrous for Splay Buzzer. But maybe he can push back the militia and then just finish the walls. Yeah, nicely done here. Nice damage control without taking too much damage here, but I think still this wall makes his position very vulnerable. Also, Splay Buzzer didn't even take his elephant. What? He doesn't see the elephant? Oh my god, Splay Buzzer, how did you even go up to the next stage? I think this is just the bonus of the Lithuanians at play here, that he doesn't even need the elephant. He's like, you can lame it, just take it. I don't need it, I don't want it. This is just ridiculous. No elephant, but this gives Freddy just such a big advantage. Now it's suddenly 4 villages. Is Splay Buzzer just not queuing, or what? What is he doing? Why don't you queue villages behind the next age? I think it's because he used to play a lot on Woobly, and there you couldn't do that. You couldn't queue up villages behind aging up, and so he's probably just too used to that. And here, that's exactly what I meant earlier. We have the archer right here, and the archer is attacking the villager, and at some point the villager will just die because it's not reacting at all. Usually the villagers at some point when they're attacked, they just go back, but here this just doesn't happen, and this villager almost gets picked off. Not quite, although I think Freddy might still do it, but no. And now we have some scouts here, but I think, well, 2 militia and 2 archers might be enough, even though the archers, well, they now have fletching, so I think Splay Buzzer cannot fight this with the scouts, and I think Freddy is firmly in the driver's seat, and I don't know why Splay Buzzer picked the maps that he picked. It doesn't seem to me that that was a very nice draft for him in terms of maps. But now the scouts are coming in, and they're finding a lot of damage on the archers. Some late micromanagement here by Fredinhiovic, and actually all the archers are being cleared up. Also the men-at-arms are being cleared, or the militia rather, not even upgrade the men-at-arms, are being cleared up, and the scout cavalry can now come in and maybe find some juicy damage on those villages. Yes, it's a lot of villages, and they could fight back, but right now they're not fighting back, and everything is falling apart for Fredinhiovic, who must be occupied with something somewhere. And I think the first villager of Freddy will go down, and now it's 3 scouts versus 3 villagers, and in that case I would bet on the scouts any day. And oh, almost the second villager being sniped. I think Splay Buzzer was just turning around a little bit too early, but I think it's understandable because you don't want to lose the army if you can have a more favorable engagement later on. And suddenly Fredinhiovic only 2 villages ahead. Nice army numbers there for Splay Buzzer, who has 5 scouts on the field. And yeah, he's just coming in, and he sees the weak villager, and he might just kill it, but no, he does not. And now the question is there a hole here? No, there's no hole. And at the same time, there's more aggression coming in from Frediniovic, who is just insisting on attacking the house, but I disagree, because there can just be another house being built behind it if Splay Buzzer realizes this. Yes, and that's exactly what he's doing now. And so well, he needs to plug the gap as well. But this attacking the house is not that strong if you can just attack the palisade walls. And now we have scary scout numbers here for Splay Buzzer, who is now also getting scale barding armor and forging. And with those upgrades, he actually might be able to kill the army of Frediniovic quite easily, who is also far away from the castle age. And if Splay Buzzer gets bloodlines as well, then this army is really scary. However, right now there's some nice walling going on from Frediniovic, and also some loop around by his own scouts. No, he thinks better of it. He's like, I want to go into this cubby. I want to go into the forest. I want to just enjoy a nice stroll in the woods. But now the scouts are forced back to their duty, to their task at hand. Coming down the other side, and there is no defense here, not a single spearman, and this would be disastrous for Splay Buzzer. Nothing in defense, and I think this is the GG moment right here. Refreshed from their walk in the woods, the scouts swoop in, kill one villager. They will kill a second villager here, I believe, and a third one will be killed right here, and a fourth one, and a fifth one. And even though Splay Buzzer is doing nice counter damage here, okay, I have to give him that. 3 villages down right here at least. Still, he is losing some scouts for that, and he's completely pushed off wood, and suddenly it's 30 villages to 24 in favor of Frediniovic. So even though oh, but look at this, the scouts are in, but they're just being killed by the villagers. But some villagers are dying here, but no, it's just not enough. The villagers just survive, and the scouts, there's just no way these scouts get in. This could have been the ticket back into the game for Splay Buzzer, but for now, this is not the case, and he will just lose the scouts like this. Oh my god, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's just losing the scouts for free. He's just panicking. And now the scouts here, they're just enjoying the view. And I think, yeah, this gives Splay Buzzer the opportunity to snipe the weak one. But yeah, it looks dire for Splay Buzzer. 23 villagers. This wall-off is not completed, and I think the series will go 3-1 to Frediniovic. This is incredible play here, even though he had 4 beer before the series, but he wasn't able to win 4 games. So in the end, we can almost count it as a loss for him, because he was cocky enough to expect 4 wins, and he only got 3 of them. But yeah, I think this game will end very quickly, and for anyone playing Frediniovic on this map in the future, I just cannot recommend it. I mean, it just plays into the strengths of Frediniovic. Frediniovic is the strongest on open maps, on Arabia type maps, and Haboob certainly is one of those maps. And instead you should just face him on something like Arena or Amazon Tunnel, because there he's just not as comfortable, not as well versed as on these type of maps. And now we have a lot of archers, a lot of scouts here in the fray, and I think this will be the final engagement by Splay Buzzer against Frediniovic, and Splay Buzzer will go down in this matchup, I believe, unless there's some miracle that he can pull off, but I don't think so. He did some nice damage, so he had some tricks up his sleeve, but he just wasn't able to execute against a strong Frediniovic. And yeah, I think with this I can believe again that Frediniovic will finally win a tournament, which is the whole point of the Farmers League, that he finally wins something, even though now he has a lot of free hits here by the scouts of Splay Buzzer. But Splay Buzzer has nothing. Frediniovic is on the way to the next age, and there's just nothing Splay Buzzer can do. He doesn't have any resources 5 on food, 55 food in the bank, 600 gold in the bank, and nothing there for him. Whereas Fredinhiovic on the way to the castle age, and look at those juicy resources now, getting forging even, and he can just queue up a few knights and just end this right there. Although I think he should just come forward with the siege workshop, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. And instead of knights, he's actually going for crossbowmen, which is probably wise, because then he can just kill more villagers even, and just choke out Splay Buzzer, prevent him from getting any resource income at all. I mean, some scouts are being taken out. We have still some nice scouts here. Scout action by Splay Buzzer, but against the crossbowmen with Bodkin Arrow, the scouts don't do anything, and the GG should be called any minute now. Fredinhiovic now just waiting for the resources to go for the mangonel. I think he should just unqueue a few of the crossbowmen, and then that will be all she wrote in this matchup, because Splay Buzzer has nothing. I mean, he has a sneaky wood line on the outside, we have to give him that. So nicely done, distracting Fredinhiovic. But Fredinhiovic doesn't even care. I mean, he just needs some siege, and not so many crossbowmen. He just needs siege, just the mangonel here. Maybe not as close to the stable. Maybe even go for a battering ram first here and batter down the stable, and then go from there. Although mangonel is actually fine, because Splay Buzzer is not even in the castle age yet, so he cannot pop out with knights, and the scouts are probably not strong enough, especially if supported by the crossbowmen. If the mangonels are supported by the crossbowmen, then that should be enough. And there it is, the first mangonel is on the way. Also scalebarding armor and also forging. I could have sworn that he finished forging before, but apparently he cancelled forging, which is interesting. And now we have 27 villagers here for Splay Buzzer, and I don't even know where they are. They're probably all inside here. And some are down here at the wood line. They're migrating, they're going somewhere. The mangonel is here, and there's just nothing that Splay Buzzer can do. And I don't know why he's staying in the game. There's just doesn't make sense anymore. And there it is. Finally, Splay Buzzer calls the GG. He says, GG, well played, and Fredinhiovic takes the game and takes the series 3-1. Even though he was fumbling a little bit. I mean, he was the Chinese, and in the end he was just about even in terms of villages, but then Splay Buzzer got just a little bit too cute with his early villager that was trying to lame Fredinhiovic, and instead he should have just built a barracks and be a little bit more safe, and that gave Fredinhiovic a huge advantage, that he just spiraled forward from there, in the end gifting him the win. What a game and what a series. And my name is Peter Host, and I was very thrilled to cast this game, and I hope to see you soon.